It's V103, ATL's #1 for hip-hop, R&B, and throwbacks. We got a very special show today. We're going to turn the clock back to what, 96, 97?
Ooh, take them all the way back, dog.
We're taking them all the way back.
Yes, sir.
Every Usher single premiered right here on the Greg Street Show.
That's right.
We had a ball.
Yeah, man.
We bought cars.
Yeah, things have changed.
I took Lil
in
James
terms
fishing.
of the type of cars that we bought to buying, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, fishing, yeah.
I talked Usher into buying a $500,000 Porsche.
That is now valued.
That is now valued at 2.5. But you got $1 million for it.
Yeah.
You sold it for $1 million.
Yeah.
You got away
Yo,
clean.
by the way, you was the only person who was like, yo, you was crazy for selling it. I was like, yo, I wore this thing out. It's about time to let it go. But nah. Yeah, I could have held on to that thing, probably sold it for $5.
Hey, my boy, Barry Partners right now, he has 2.
By the way, only had 3 in Atlanta. By the way, congratulations on the car show. I'm definitely going to come down and support eventually once I get a car in there.
You got to. But it's Usher Radio today.
Yeah, man.
Usher Radio. We're going to talk everything from LaFace and So Def all the way to Mega.
Yes. You know, it's been a homecoming, you know, and here we are, you know, on the heels of yet another incredible journey as an independent artist through Mega. And, man, I said I was coming home, and here I am.
He's here.
Home. Yeah. The party himself.
First for sisters only.
Yes. Well, you got to go back even further than that. Hold on, Greg.
You wanna go back
we got to go further. We got to go back to the earlier times. Like, you know, you got to go back to My Brother's Keeper and you know, Atlanta's own Atlanta Talent Search.
The talent searches.
You know, we go all the way back.
When we go back to that, the MVP of the team is my girl Janetta.
Yeah.
Give me just a little day-to-day of what it was like growing up, being an artist, being young, having a vision, having a dream, and having a mom that really kind of understood and believed.
Well, first and foremost, I got to say that for all the independent women out there who managed to be able to support their kids, you know, my mother, she remarried, of course, but, you know, my father wasn't there. So to have the other half be as supportive as my mother was to eventually help me find inspiration to find my voice, my career, you know, my path, and then support me as a manager in an industry male dominant, you know, and not necessarily welcoming to parents who would more than likely interfere in the business. But she managed to learn the business and then be successful in the business. And then we launched an amazing career that, you know, gave album after album after album. And then eventually, you know, able to just celebrate that and be able to you know, to look back over the years and realize that this was all a dream. This was a dream for me that gave her an opportunity to be able to spread her wings as a businesswoman. Now, you know, having her culinary incubator still in Atlanta and helping to discover chefs and continue to move forward. But, yo, really an entrepreneur in a way that inspired me to become the entrepreneur that I am today. After having been with, you know, record companies and being within this system so many years, now coming back as an independent with my label, Mega, and going back to the person who I started it with, which is L.A. Reid. We kicked it off here in Atlanta, and we came all the way back home. Took this whirlwind of an experience to bring us back together, having launched incredible artists, support and be a part of his legacy of support of launching incredible songs, records, albums. And now here we are once again after all that time. We're back home.
At what point in your career, being in the game, did you understand business was a talent?
When you begin to understand that dollars need to make sense. And I think it was my mother who, you know, more than anything had to have monofocus on the business while I could focus on the creativity. Had some journeys, learned some things, you know, found some inspiration, worked with incredible people. You know, Jermaine Dupri helped me really find my voice. Working with, you know, Jimmy Terry Lewis helped me find my pen. Working with incredible, you know, musicians like Emmanuel Seal and Brian Michael Cox and Jonte Austin, and incredible, you know, inspiration from people who were the pioneers in this city, like Rico Wade. You know, not many people know this side. I don't even know if you know this, Greg, but You know, I'm an honorary member of the Dungeon family. I was there in the early days.
I remember some of that.
When we was down in the dungeon, like before Outkast was Outkast, when it was Sleepy Brown and Marquez, and you know,
People don't know about Marquez.
yeah, man.
Marquez penning that Waterfalls.
Like, you know, yeah, man. They know, they know him in a different way.
Some people know him from Home Depot.
Yeah.
We know him from Waterfalls.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Now, you and Jermaine, well, let's go before that. I interviewed L.A. Reid's brother.
Yeah.
And he told me about how he was the partner in LaFace that really put the connection together.
Yeah. By the way, two people. A guy who deserves some recognition in it, because had I not met A.J. Alexander, I would have never met Brian Reid, who discovered me at the talent search at Earthlink Live. At the time, I think it was Center Stage.
Center
at the time.
Stage.
Yeah, so that was the beginning. That was the beginning of my journey as an artist. It's the first time I ever played with a band. And man, it was kind of the send-off in the right direction. Of course, I would continue to work with AJ, then started building my career with Brian. Worked with incredible producers, kind of made my way through the industry. As I said, I started off working with Dungeon Family, ended up working with Puff, then made my way back here to Atlanta to work with Jermaine. Not many people know this. Before I went to New York City to work with Puffy, JD and I met. We met because he was on tour with Crisscross. And we were at the Fox Theater. They were killing the world. You know what I'm saying? And AJ was trying to get me and JD to work then, but JD was so busy. Even after having conversations with him, he was like, after working with young kids and parents, it was a bit complicated. I didn't understand it, but it was intended for us to work together, because after having the experiences that I'd had in the industry, with Rico Wade, and understanding, being able to find your voice, right? Atlanta was different, right? Back then it was
raw.
CeeLo. No, really, it was voices like CeeLo that made me feel like, singers can really, make it. And then they became Goody Mob, right? It was Kilo. It was songs like that was the hip hop that we knew back in that time.
But they were singing.
I mean, in some way, if you look at it that way, cocaine, that's a way. It's a totally different, generation. But that was the only tie that I think any of us young artists had in mind. It was like the boys that worked with L.A. Reid, Babyface, and then you had who else was working with them at the time? You had another bad creation, like young artists.
So, another bad creation.
Yeah, you had you had
JD had Silk Time Leather.
There you go.
And JVR the Straight Jacket.
Yeah,
JVR from
the
West End.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah, I wasn't even in Atlanta, but I knew about it.
By the way, Sharon Showcase was showing all of this. So
all of this.
You know what I'm saying? You go out to the Sharon Showcase and you see everything that was kind of moving in Atlanta, So that's original.
Now, you mentioned Jermaine, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how did the chemistry actually really come together for you guys to create that first project, My Way?
Well, before, we worked on a remix for Think of You, and that's kind of how it really kicked off. Yeah.
That was Brian Reid's strategy, though.
Yeah.
Because he told me about how he had Jermaine do the remix for Damian Dame, which turned into the remix of TLC.
Yeah.
The big single that they had, and Left Eye wasn't even rapping on the song. He's like, we're going to remix it, but only thing I need you to do, Jermaine, you got to include T-Boz has the rap on it.
We're getting a history lesson here today, understanding that this Motown of the South was not one man's island. It was a collaborative effort on a lot of people's parts, right? Devette Singletary. It was Shoestrings. You know what I'm saying? It was KP. It was, eventually D.L. Warfield. It was, Billy Woodruff. It was
Raheem the Dream.
Raheem the Dream.
MC Shadi.
Yeah, man.
Big Oomp. Edward J.
Yeah, well, I mean that's later, but by the way, it was these pioneers that were coming up with strategies to introduce the culture, because Atlanta didn't really have an imprint like that. It was just incredibly creative people who were trying to fight their way up to the top to be recognized in the same way that New Yorkers were, and the way they were out in the Midwest and the way they were out in the West. Otherwise, we knew Luke. You know what I'm saying? Luke from Miami, and that's basically how people kind of viewed the success of the South. You know.
Yeah, because Luke came in here and actually signed producers. Mike Fresh was from Atlanta. DJ Toomp was from Atlanta. MC Shadi was actually from New York, but DJ Toomp was from Atlanta. Mike Fresh is from Atlanta. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of the producers that were producing the big Miami-based records was from Atlanta.
Yeah.
MC Breed was actually from Michigan.
Yeah.
I met Breed in Houston before I even came to Dallas or Atlanta in 1990.
Yeah.
Ain't No Future in the Front.
Yeah.
That was another Greg Street exclusive.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It was crazy. But JD and Usher, after that remix, getting into doing bodies of work, how did that whole piece come together?
Well, I think I had enough of people attempting to try and make me an artist. It was JD who really took the time to listen. And I was working with Tim and Bob. I was working with Tim and Ted before, but at that point of my life, I was working with these producers, Tim and Bob, and I was working with JD. So I would either be in there with Phil Tan and Emmanuel Seal, and we just be working through things. But it was JD who was really listening. It would be in those conversations that we had in passing that he began to help me craft what my story was and find something that was authentic that would give me a brand of my own. It didn't feel like I was just kind of putting on a suit that was tailor-made for me but didn't necessarily work for me. This was my tailor-made suit. This is when I actually established what Usher was. And it was authentic. It was from the South. Even though I came by way of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Atlanta gave me an identity. It gave me something that I was proud of. It gave me something that I felt like I could represent. It gave me something of a style. It gave me something that was our own. You know what I mean? And the way we dressed, and the way we sang, and the way we were able to articulate hip hop and R&B in a way that wasn't like everybody else.
So when people ask you where you from, what do you say? Because I get that question.
And what do you say? You say you from Dallas?
I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
You from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, but I represent Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? When I tilt that A hat to the right, it's because I found something here that was significant for me. I figured out what I wanted to do in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then I found the reality of what that passion was in Atlanta.
Figured out how to do it.
That's right. I figured out how to do it and who to do it with in Atlanta. That would then create hit records. And then, we continued to keep that legacy. Even though we had moved out of Atlanta and made our way up to New York with Arista Records, it was still that homegrown idea of how we would create these melting pots of artists and artistry to create a body of work that was an album. Rather, it was My Way. My Way was more clear because it was really me and Jermaine Dupri's vision. 8701 became a little bit more of a collective because, working with, Daryl Jones and Mark Pitts, which I'd worked with before, in passing because he was working with Puff. But we were working in a different way on 8701. KP Kwan Prather, the great, KP the Great. And, we began to just try and build a more expansive idea of what Atlanta was, even though it was a worldwide, recognized album. Was it an R&B album, or was it an album that was popular because people gravitated towards it? It became something that the entire world would begin to understand. It wasn't until Confessions that I was able to tie it all together where people understood, oh, this is a story that's relevant. It's a story that's cultural. It's a story that is my own. It's a story that creates legacy for me.
Now, you being...
now I'm celebrating the 20th anniversary of that album here in Atlanta. I broke these songs with you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So here now, coming home, having that world experience, that real world experience that took me all around the world, that brought me back home. That's what that coming home name means. It is being able to come back now after having that world of experience, and now be that guy
and have a partnership in the label with LA.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Real crazy. For the new album, how was it putting this new project together with JD and everybody that you work with as a collective?
It's always been a collaborative process, working with LA, working with Keith Thomas, working with Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox, working with, Jonte Austin, working with, even new producers, Phil's was an artist and also to producer that I wanted to work with, created Ruin, and also to, being able to bring, some of that ATL evolution out with Dream. All of these songs and this music is a melting pot of an experience. One that is some things that I lived out, but also to an experience that feels very where I am. When I hear songs like I Love You, songs like I Am the Party, songs like Bop, that's a culture that if you in Atlanta and you at Cascade, you know what bopping is. It's a style of dance for me. It's a style of skate for me. But it also too is the slang, the word, how we move, how we talk. Luckiest man in the world. Being able to express love in a way that is a celebration. I got married. You know what I'm saying? The day
Congratulations.
of
Superbowl weekend.
Super Bowl weekend. Yeah, but that is all within the story. But yeah, working with the producers that I chose to on this album and being able to collaborate, it's always been a collaborative experience. It's never just been one way of doing what I do. Some of it is people that I've worked with my entire career. Sorry. It's been a collaborative experience, and putting together Coming Home. Working with some of the people that I worked with my entire life, whether it was Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox, whether it was Dream once again, rather working with and writing with Jonte Austin, and then trying new ideas, based off of where I am in my life. It's been an incredible year, man. 2 years. I made this album, started making this album some time ago, and to be able to bring it all together.
Cause I thought you was gonna pull the trigger with the LMA.
Yeah.
The LMA was incredible.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite Usher songs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We always had a discussion too.
Yeah.
Cause Usher is.
Yo, by the way, Greg will hit me and be like, "Yo, that birthday song. Remember you hit me about that? Yo, it's a play out in Vegas."
Y'all actually hit you with the Vegas play before you went to Vegas.
Yeah, you did. You did.
True story.
Yeah.
I was DJing one night, right? I was DJing on Northside at Restaurant 10, and there were some ladies having a birthday party. Mm-hmm. And they was right in front of the DJ booth. It was like 6 or 8 ladies at the table. Mm-hmm. And they was like, I think the lady was celebrating like her 34th, 35th birthday. They came up and said, play Usher birthday. It's on the new mixtape. The mixtape had just dropped. Mm-hmm. Bro, I played the song and they went crazy. They was like almost dancing on top of the table.
Yep.
Lady dancing with the chicken wing in her mouth. I called you right. I said, look, bro, because I knew the story about the party you did in Vegas. Mm-hmm. One of my sources, we had a conversation about this party you did in Vegas, and the whole conversation is, Greg, why is it so hard to get these artists to commit when we trying to give them all this money? He said, well, people like Usher, he's kind of easy to work with. I booked Usher to do a pool party. Lady gave him $500,000 just to go show up at the party. He didn't have to sing, he didn't have to do nothing. But I'm trying to book this other guy. He was trying to book Yachty for DJ Irish.
By the way, that number changed, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no, this was years ago.
Oh, thank you.
But this was just to show up. You didn't perform. You didn't say nothing on the mic. Half a ticket.
Yep.
So when I got this story in my head, right? And I'm DJing. I play the record and the girl go crazy. So I'm like, bro, you could go to Vegas and do a residency once a month, and for everybody to come celebrate their birthday with Usher, and this song would be #1 on the charts for 6 months.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah, but the idea of residency in itself had kind of been condensed to just parties. And while it's great to be able to go out there and celebrate, no hate, you know what I mean, to be able to go out there and do it, I wanted to, I was advocating for an underserved, dynamic and audience.
Right.
The dollar that was in Las Vegas was coming from all over the place. Some
All over the
people
world.
from London, people from, Australia, but not as many black people. And the black dollar wasn't as strong and relevant until I started doing these levels of residency. And, while I ain't trying to pat myself on the back, it was a real deliberate decision, that was really put on my mind many, many years ago. My mother told me, we need to go to Las Vegas after Confessions. And I was like, I'm not quite ready to do it right now. I just don't think that playing in Las Vegas would represent who and what I am right now. It may be perceived as, this is the finale. And I was like, I want to go do more. So I went to go do more, went to go around the world. I traveled the entire world. And then Beyonce played The Win and in Las Vegas. And when I saw her show that she put together, it then was there was a light bulb that went off. And I was like, you know what? When I'm ready to play Las Vegas, I want an experience. It just so happened to happen right at the time when the entire world had stopped. We were, all locked away, everybody outside of Atlanta. But for the most part, nobody was doing anything. So, we weren't gathering for concerts. Live Nation was taking a bath because, all of these incredible venues were just empty. No basketball games, no nothing. But a grand opportunity to do two things. One, to show you how powerful the black dollar is for this level of performance. And when I look out in that audience every night and I see a mixture of people, but the majority of it being minorities, black people who chose to get on a plane, chose to, take care of themselves, doll up, look beautiful for the night. Put it on, you know what I'm saying? And come out here and treat themselves. That was the purpose and point. I didn't want to be, an after party. I wanted to be the party.
The party.
I am the party. So I was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to Las Vegas and we're going to elevate. We're going to show, and by the way, we started at Caesar's Palace, which was even bigger of a venue, and having Celine Dion play there to bring our culture in that way that, in the same way, the way people studied and enjoyed Cirque du Soleil, they enjoy our culture. It was a very deliberate decision to open up a market for us. It was a funnel for the artists who are legacy. It was a funnel, that, by the way, tipping my hat to artists like, Boyz II Men and even Bruno Mars, who understood how to get there before. But to not just look at it as, hey, I'm going to go out here and collect a check. No, I'm going to give you a show. You're going to get your money's worth. I'm going to make certain that you come out here, if you putting on, I'm going to put on for you.
You're not going to mind spending that money.
No. You're going to come out here, you're going to feel great about it. Matter of fact, you're going to come 3-4 times because I'm never going to give you the same show. You're never going to have the same experience, ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that first night, though? That first night when the lights came on.
The craziest shit you could ever experience in your life.
Say what?
The craziest shit you could ever experience in your life. 48 hours before we actually opened the curtains, my entire cast sat down. Some people sat down because of standards of, at the time they didn't want to, meet whatever standards were intended at that time. So basically my entire crew sat down on me. Some people, were like, we have certain beliefs and, we don't want to get vaccinated. And by the way, in order to be in close quarters with people, we didn't want to compromise anyone's health. So a lot of people had to be vaccinated, but they didn't. They didn't want to. So it's like, okay, cool, understand that, and respectfully. So here I am. I gotta open these curtains, and I gotta have a show. But it's just me, and I had one dancer. So I had to figure out, thank God, I had invested in something that was different, which was an experience, because underneath my stage, there was an entire immersive experience that I wanted people to feel. So what I did is I took that entire immersive staff and we re-choreographed the entire show within 48 hours. I brought in 3 of my snipers, the guys who I danced and performed with across the United States and even the world. And we picked out a lot of choreography that we worked on before. and we managed to put together a show. No one would ever know any of this happened, but it was a magnificent. It was probably the best show that we'd ever put on, because while we were up there and we knew and we were locked, it wasn't about the choreography that we'd learned. We were going off of memory and interacting with the audience, and that 30-person staff that was downstairs, a part of my immersive experience, they became a part of the setting. And it felt like, oh, wow, we're looking at a party. We're not looking at just a show. We're looking at something that feels like an experience. Like I'm literally looking at life happening in real time. And I'd be singing the songs, and it would be almost as though we were in a club. And then before you know it, people move to the side, and now it's just an intimate moment that's all about vocal and connection with the audience. Then we go to choreography. So, yeah, I mean, and by the way, I was taking a bath because I had to pay my entire staff that wasn't working.
That wasn't working.
Yeah, they didn't want and didn't feel and were not made to adhere to whatever the standard for Las Vegas was, because you could not perform unless you were vaccinated. And that was basically for the safety of people. This is the first show, by the way, in America since we had shut down. And Las Vegas opened its doors. It took the risk. Live Nation, Arthur Fogel, Michael Rapino, Ron Lafitte, and a host of incredible other people who believed in this project, supported it. And I didn't want to let my people down. I didn't want to be the artist that just decided to shut it down. As I always say, the show must go on. So we figured it out. And that was the opening. Now, we eventually got it together and continued to, craft some of what we found in that moment. But yeah, it was something like you would never experience in your life. It was the hardest thing I think I ever had to experience.
But it's just amazing just to see how the universe moves.
Yeah.
How everything comes together.
When you honor it, when you have a purpose. I had a vision, and I didn't know necessarily how I was going to get there, but I knew it would happen and I knew it would work. And by the way, I was reluctant to do it. I'm not going to say that I was ready to go to Las Vegas instantly. I made it known that, if I do this, spend every dollar we have. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we don't make no money this first run because I want people to love this show. I have to invest in this show. I got to invest in this future, because what's going to happen a year from now is why I'm making this investment. It wasn't even intended. There was no way to even make any money. And we didn't have a lot of merchandise and things like that. But it was an investment. It was an investment in a future. It was an investment in my legacy. It was an investment in the songs that you had sang. It was an investment in my audience, because they meant that much to me. I wanted to make certain that if I brought you here, it was faith, it was belief, it was not hope. Hope don't get you shit.
No hope, no luck, faith.
No hope. It was 100% faith and belief and what I knew people wanted to feel.
How many weeks did you do Vegas?
I did 100 shows. We did a collective over 2 years, and we worked in the hotter seasons. And also, too, I think we then picked up more shows later on in October and the end of the year.
I remember when they extended it, because we were promoting for people to come, because you extended I think it was October, November.
Yeah, November.
Yeah, I remember that. Now Vegas is going crazy. Everybody's flying out to Vegas. Then you get the nod. Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Craziest decision I ever had to make is to keep my shows running, or either, because scarcity is part of what builds the excitement and anticipation for a show like the Super Bowl. But once again, the show must go on. I don't like to disappoint my fans. I don't like to disappoint people who pay their hard-earned money to be able to come and see a performance. Furthermore, I wanted to stay in the moment of what I was having. And why not allow Las Vegas to have the crescendo at the end of an incredible residency? And I took it to Paris to bring it back and then perform at the Super Bowl. It's a testimony to belief and faith, as you said.
Lil Jon, JD, Luda, you guys put on a hell of a show.
Appreciate that.
One question: why didn't you have JD change his socks?
Why didn't I?
Why didn't you make JD change his socks?
Why would I? I thought it was fire. I thought it was great. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the way, you know, that's how fashion goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the way, you remember the things that you choose to react to. Rather it was, you know, Outkast and Andre 3000 wearing a wig for the first time, or wearing a grass dress. You know what I'm saying? Or a Young Thug. These are the type of things that you need to understand are curated in Atlanta. The confidence that we have to be able to put on what we put on, and rather it's preppy. You got to understand Atlanta's swag is different from the rest of the world. And while, you know, Pharrell, he got a little bit of it with, you know, what was happening with his first collection, I think JD was onto something. I think JD always onto something.
Always.
I think JD is always ahead. And, you know, while people, you know, choose to laugh or not understand what's happening, it's the same premise of Criss Cross putting their clothes on backwards.
Well, I just wanted to ask you that question to see what your response was.
Yeah.
Because I just texted the other day. In fact, I texted the other day.
You asked him what he got from me after the world started saying what they were saying. I was like, nah, bro, you keep going. This right here, this is it.
Guess what I told him?
Yeah.
Put the socks out.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, you need to keep it going, bro.
I went online and found a company that make the cargo socks.
Yeah.
Send them the information.
Yeah.
Say, listen, bro, I ordered 30 pair.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on them to come in. We're gonna see what they look like.
Yes.
The JD cargo socks are on the way.
Yep. You laugh until you like it, till you love it. It's a LLL. I take an LLL, never an L.
Coming home.
Yeah.
Usher, baby.
Yeah.
ATL.
I am the party.
When did you and LA decide to come up with this idea to launch your own independent label with Mega?
I think somewhere within the process of me recording, and I think it was Felicia Fant, who brought all of us in a room in Atlanta at a dinner, where we all just kind of talked about Atlanta's history. And some new influences were there, but me and LA, we had just a moment of reconnection. We had talked, we had seen each other. I continue to support him in whatever he was doing, but being able to hear where his focus is and was, and what he still has the passion to do, I wanted us to have that round, that go back around, right? We now have returned back to the beginning of our evolution, and here's an opportunity for us to do it again. And that was it. It was really a matter of, do we still have the passion for what we do, and do we want to do it independently? It's a journey. It ain't gonna be easy to understand, because the metrics of how we even equate music, or either promoted music or either created music, is changed. But that energy is there, that confidence is there, that commitment is there for each other. So, we started it.
You're moving with the change.
Yeah.
Now, I know the line is cliche. For a young artist watching this or listening to this, I want you to address the importance of understanding the mental healthness side of.
You said it, hellness.
Healthness
that's
and
what it is.
Side of just staying mentally healthy in a space where you understand the music business and the whole game.
Yeah. Well, you got to be a dreamer first and foremost, and a bit delusional. But you also, too, have to be patient, and you got to be respectful of the process, right? What you may perceive as a failure sometimes is an opportunity to make you better. And your commitment to whatever you say you believe in will only come to fruition if you stay dedicated to your vision. It may change, it may morph into other things, but stay dedicated to what you felt you saw and what you dedicated yourself to. I always say, the journey is the destination. If I have an idea of what success is and I then arrive, it's over.
It's over.
So for me, it's always been, hey, I want to be on I want the journey of what this is, and I want to learn. I want to pay attention to the pioneers, the people who've literally played instruments, who gave their time to those arrangements, who felt something, outside of what, this industry standard is. While music has now moved to a place where it's, it's downloadable. People don't necessarily stand in the line for a CD or a record like they used to, so they don't have the same commitment to it. It kind of is displaced and almost kind of frivolous. Like,
but they'll stand in line to buy tickets and they'll stand in line to buy merch. So now it's
That's
really
right.
the space is even really better.
but you still got to have that music. You still do have to
The
have
music,
music.
drives it.
Yeah.
The music is the machine to drive it.
The
But the
commitment
internet,
too.
I think the internet is really like our new form of slavery because it's so easy for people to put so much propaganda out there, and a lot of the young artists kind of get lost, not
Yeah.
understanding to stay in tune with, like what you're saying,
Yeah.
with your dream, and knowing it's going to be a little crazy.
Well, the means of how you choose to get people to pay attention to you has changed. And what are you famous or infamous for? Is it a moment? Or is it a memory? Is it just a flash? Or are you really committed to being great? If you're committed to being great, then you're going to continue to work, even if you are successful, even if you got the bag. Oh, because some people just really I want to make things better for myself. But are you really ready for the type of scrutiny that comes with this lifestyle? Are you ready to give up that anonymity where it's about this now perception of who you are? And are you committed to staying focused on that, your craft? I was built in a time where it was all about your craft. And there are many artists who still, need to be recognized. It's really up to us to be able to see them. It's up to us to be able to celebrate them and continue to lift them up, and rather that's an artist that is new or an artist that has been doing it for a very long time successfully, because they're great artists. They can sing, they can literally sing, they can perform, they know how to captivate an audience. Captivating an audience is not just about a song. It is about a promotion. It is about a marketing of something. It is about an ability to be able to bring people in and make them intrigued by whatever you have to offer. But you got to stay committed and dedicated to being great.
And not willing to compromise your integrity for the clickbait.
There is that too. But by the way, that's marketing. The clickbait is a part of it. You can't run away from it. But what do you really have to offer when you get to the other side of the clickbait? You know what I'm saying?
Once you got them, can you keep them?
Yeah. You're going to bait it, but what you going to do to hook them?
I gotta ask two questions about these classic records.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
When Superstar went viral,
Mm-hmm.
how'd you feel?
When Superstar went viral, or when My Tiny Desk went viral? Because I think it really started
From the Tiny Desk?
from the Tiny Desk performance. It made me feel really excited about where people and their passion about music is, because that performance was raw. It was me and a band, no perception, no lights, open room full of people, and the ability to just sing and perform for them. No auto-tune, just me and a microphone. And not to say that auto-tune as a device doesn't offer something, because I guess perfection in the mind of the person who's listening matters, but it is the nuance of being able to sing through and have what's in a song like Superstar that makes it matter forever. It don't matter when you heard it. That song was done over 20 years ago and it becomes viral 19 years later. That's because it was about something that was real, raw, and not singing through the machine.
But that's why I asked you, because like when you see little kids 3 and 4 years old doing
they just having fun, and actually, if you manage to connect, to something that becomes relevant enough for people to say, oh, I want to pay attention to this. I'm committed to looking at this artist because he or she is offering something quality, And
the other one is a classic Usher, Greg Street Story.
Yep.
You was on the set of 24s with T.I. That was during the time I was flying back and forth to Dallas and Atlanta. I was having a conversation with somebody on the set, and they put you on the phone, and we was talking about and you was like, I was like, Usher, this record's incredible. He's like, are you sure? Like this sound like Michael Jackson singing on a Lil Jon beat. He was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this one.
So I'll tell you this. That's why I have you in my phone. so that I can hit you when it's time and say, yo, which one is it? Which direction should we be moving in? Because you got a sensibility about things, and it's raw because it really is for the people, and you understand what they need and what they want, and you paying attention to them, right? Confessions, in my mind, Burn was the song. Burn was the song that I felt would make people understand the depth of who I am as a performer and an artist, and it was creativity. You understood the culture.
Yep. I
So
sat
being
down with
able
your
to,
mama.
yeah,
I was like, tell your son, hell no. This one.
yeah. Matter of fact, you was probably trying to convince her too, because she.
Well, she didn't really want to play it for me at first.
Yeah.
Because she was like, this is the one. She said, but I got some over here. I want to play for you, but I don't. Like, Janetta, play the damn song. She played the song like, J-Pat, you already know.
Yeah. So after listening to Coming Home, what you gonna put your claim on?
I'm feeling some of the. I like the Believe, because I'm a JD, Usher, B. Cox, Jonte Austin fan. Like, so I'm always looking for that.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for that. What was the first single?
Good.
No, not what was the one? Good was crazy.
Yeah.
What was the one before? It was something before.
Glue.
Huh?
Glue was
Yeah,
a
Glue.
record that I came out with around Valentine's Day. Yeah.
I
Every year.
I wasn't a big fan of Glue, but I understood it.
Yeah. So here's the deal, right? Every year, I always put a song out around Valentine's Day because everybody needs love, not just the people who are in love. So I'm always kind of thinking of my fans and trying to make certain that I give them something, whether it's on my album or not. That's just a tradition of mine. But for me, it is being able to sit down and have this conversation to let you know that, while there is the single and the record that is there, being able to tap in with you and make certain that you can speak to the audience that is connected in a real way. The same way rappers go break records, or used to go break records at Magic City or, Follies or wherever they chose to go, Blue Flame, whatever it was, right? Because it's some cultural thing that lets you know, oh, this is real and people want this. You the same way, dog. So, when I listen to my album, I do hear Believe. I do hear Bop. I do hear I
You're
Am
close
the
to it. It's your
Party.
babies. These are your babies.
But these are the songs that I know you're going to connect to. So rather we choose to play it right now, or y'all choose to go back and listen to it, these are my selects for if I'm going to throw those ones out. If we doing a listening session, you and I'm going to say Bop. I'm going to say I Am the Party. You know what I'm saying? Those are the songs and then I'm going to say A-Town Girl. These are the songs that I know speak to who we are and where we are and what Atlanta is in a way that speaks to the entire world.
Coming Home, Usher.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, Usher, baby.
V103.